I'm good.
Mr. York. Good. All right, let's call this meeting to order at 7:03 PM. We're gonna start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Please join me in a moment, silent reflection. Thank you. Sunshine Law notice. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, public meetings may be held in person or by means of communication equipment to include streaming services and other online meeting platforms. This meeting is being held in person and through the Zoom meeting platform being broadcast from Borough Hall, 748 River Road, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Public participation in this regular council meeting of November 10th, 2025 is available by calling phone number or through web conference Zoom. Members of the public will be on mute until it is time for questions or comments, which will be announced. At that time, the public has the opportunity to question or comment by phone or through Zoom by the raise hand button and will be called on at the appropriate time. Notice of this meeting was included in a schedule of meetings, which was adopted by resolution number 2025-13 and sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times on January 7, 2025. Posted on the Borough website, the Bolton Board Municipal Building, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statutes. With adequate notice having been given, the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Council members Cole. Demasceli. Yes. Hoey. Patch. Yes. Rivera.
Present.
Olson.
Here.
You have attorneys Sobel, Melvin. Administrator Burt. Engineer Bardella, Captain Lambert, CFO Britton, and Parks and Rec Director DJ Parkin.
Thank you. Before I move along to workshop sessions, I just want to confirm Cecilia Foster is not here. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. We have some workshops tonight, a few sign related workshops, it looks like, which has been dominating a lot of our time here on the days. We're starting off with the Sons of the American Revolution tree plaque.
Marino was this year.
I don't know. All right. Do you have anything you want to say before they?
I just wanted to mention, I don't know if it's in the email or on the paper, but it's supposed to be approximately 16 inches across and 12 inches. It'll be granite. And the Sons of Revolutionary War, yep, that's it, will be donating it.
And it's in the ground, correct?
Yes, so for now, we'll probably just dig a little hole right there. Maybe down the road, we can get one of our friends, the little cement and keep it there, so it doesn't walk away.
Did it change since because the last one I saw was smaller than that. So did it change sizes?
Maybe the measurement, I thought it was 9 by 12. But
Yeah,
it's 16,
Okay.
so it's a little bigger.
okay.
And the tree's been planted.
Oh, that's good.
Awesome, congratulations. First one, right? For like all of them?
That's awesome.
No, that's a whole nother story.
Alright,
Another day.
congrats.
And I was like the fourth one. Oh, the first, yes, for the Sons of American, yes, first one.
Is this the one that was a sapling from another tree?
No, was the Princess Elm.
You guys know what I'm talking about or no?
Yeah, I remember they.
That's separate.
That's a different, yes.
Anyone have questions on this?
Just, I mean, we met at the last workshop, right, and we have to codify, right, Andrew, our signs. So if we're adding this into it, right, we definitely want to make sure that we set the standard and we have the precedent, right, so we've agreed to scouts, right, with that,
But we agreed to scout without an explanation or description, so I mean, I like this, how it is. The only thing I would maybe add is our borough logo somewhere, do we want to have that, is that allowed to be added? No, I think it's just from Sons of America.
Yeah, I think it's.
But again, like, I mean, I voted to keep the description for the Boy Scouts, so I feel a little bit hypocritical if we vote to put this through the description and we don't you know,
I
we
understand.
should vote for the Boy Scout, the Eagle Scouts.
I don't disagree with you, actually, you know, listen, we can make distinctions, I think there's a distinction between someone putting up a sign. That, honors themselves in some way versus. Versus a sign that's honoring our country, but also, I'm saying, Michael, that I agree with you.
Yeah.
So you know, we could play that game all day of we could do this and
Yeah.
not that, I guess it comes down to whether. The people on this dais wanna move forward with this. I don't know.
Are we obligated?
To have the sign, I believe so.
What do they do now? I think we asked them last time.
I-
We got
well,
the tree in the
I
ground.
don't know, but I paid for that tree. In order to be part of this program, I think, yeah, you have to put the sign.
So let me just give some advice here. Before we start violating everyone's rights. We agreed on signage. And I believe it's similar, even though it's not an individual, it's a group of individuals, right? It's, I know, I understand it's the country, but it's, where's it, Sons
The
of the American Revolution. I they're on the side of caution. I would recommend an 8, I believe we approved an 8 by 10.
Yeah, 8 by 10 was the size sign, and again, with just 3 things, its name, project, and then the year of the project. So looking at this, if this was an 8 by 10 sign and we had Liberty Tree commemorating the 250th anniversary of the American independence, and it has the year 1776 to 2026. And Monmouth Chapter, New Jersey, the Society of SAR, I would say that would fit the criteria that we, the parameters we put for the Boy Scouts, so, but the center does not fit the criteria, so I would say that would be the only thing that was different. If we removed that center language and made it an 8 by 10 sign, it would fit the criteria of the Eagle Scouts.
I thought last time, were we putting your name on or were we not?
Yeah,
No. Okay,
okay,
So
just to make it small, so they can make it small.
I understand.
before I move forward on what you just said, I just wanna make sure I properly understand. And again, I was agreeing on that, but I thought that the standard we set was a standard for the scouts. You're saying that now goes for all signs, so like when we talk about Fairhaven baseball in a second, are they gonna put up 8 by 10 signs on the outfield fence?
No, but I thought we were looking as to signage to commemorate whether it's a project or an individual. And the likeness of something that commemorates our American history where. Yeah, I understand.
Can I elaborate further?
Sure.
We have a sign on the dock that talks about, or we did, I know I haven't been down there recently to remember which one is not there, but it's about Superstorm Sandy and. You know, it's we have a sign at Third Street Trail, that's a much bigger sign. I don't think that every sign is necessarily the same. Now, if in the spirit of what we did with the scouts, we wanna say. Hey, let's create our own version of this sign and place it, and I don't know whether we can or cannot do that, and just eliminate the mission statement or whatever we said, where it says Liberty Tree commemorating the 250th anniversary with the dates. With the 2 logos and just maybe who that chapter is, you know, like, to me, that sounds like a good thing. Are you saying that that's in violation of something?
No, but remember, this is an individual that is purchasing a tree to be placed. She's not taking any recognition. I thought that was something that was spoken about, I believe, at the lab.
Right,
Right,
but.
Susan Sorensen accompanied
Yeah,
you last time,
mhm.
so I do
Because of
recall.
the size, we
Right.
just said, don't worry about it.
Do they have any requirements for the sign, like if we didn't have the mission statement, is that?
I
kind of
believe so,
nullified?
that's the whole reason why they're doing all this, I don't know for sure.
Can I just ask a question? Is that they won't pay for the sign or?
No, I believe that's why they're doing this whole program is for the recognition. And that's why they want a sign by the tree,
Who's paying for the sign?
the Sons of the American Revolution.
You know, I would still be I still think we'd be putting their name on the.
Everything minus the.
I think it's the mission statement that we're talking about, and the part in the middle that's dedicated to all, we cherish the precious gift of liberty. Yeah, that's the part that I think, based on what we've discussed before, we wanna be consistent with. I still think it could say. and I apologize for not knowing the background of Sons Liberty, I assume it's a good organization. I think there's no problem in having their name there, the logo, the picture of the soldier, the Liberty Tree, the date commemorating the 250th anniversary. It's just the middle part. Do you guys agree with that?
I do.
Yeah, and I want to, for the record, explain why I voted last time against having the mission statement. And it's not because I disagree with anything in there, I agree with all of this. What I was thinking about is in 50 years or 100 years, someone says, oh, they weren't patriots, they were colonizers or whatever, and they want to rip the sign out. And I want to try to make as high a probability as possible the sign stays there forever.
Okay.
That was my thinking on the scouts. And consistency is important. I just don't want the sign to be ripped out by a future generation. That's all I'm angling at.
I don't ever wanna have to discuss whether that middle part is appropriate or everyone agrees with it for any sign.
Yeah,
Moving forward, that's where I'm
it's the
coming
same
from.
concept, yeah.
So I guess my question goes back to before is, you said it had to be the exact way they had it.
That's
Is that
the
for
way-
them to pay for it?
Probably, but if you just shorten down and tell me exactly what you want, I'll go
You
back
think
to that.
you go back?
Yep.
Okay, that,
You wanna do it right on that?
Yeah, I'll just write it right on here.
Yeah.
to me, it would be the exact sign with just the middle, without the
Just-
statement.
just-
and it-
So
No,
let's
it's like the-
let's remove any ambiguity. 8x10. Liberty Tree, the commemorating sentence.
I think by putting it in granite, though, I don't think you can shrink it. So originally it was gonna be on a piece of aluminum, but since they offered to pay for it, we've thought something heavier and better. That might be the problem for that. Cause there's a guy from South Carolina that I could barely understand is the one that actually does the etching of it.
My understanding from the scout conversation was that we were talking specifically about the scouts, right? And
That's,
so,
I agree.
okay,
Yeah.
and so this is not a
Completely
scouts.
different.
Right, and we had talked about potentially having further conversations around an ordinance for all signs, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Correct.
Right, so I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to separate the two for just this purposes of this conversation.
I think, I personally think we kind of have, but we're trying to stay consistent within that at the same time.
Yeah.
I certainly don't want to be viewed as hypocritical either, based on how we addressed the last one. And I think by doing that, I don't necessarily have as big an issue with the size as I do with the content, again. That's personal.
Yeah, and the size, I think there is a little bit of difference between if it's in the ground or not. So that could be, we're looking for a reason to say that it could be bigger if it's in the ground.
And some of the issues,
Stretching it a little.
and some of the issue might be too, they might, because again, you're talking about a granite sign, they might already have a die that's cast for this. So in order to minimize it, they may have to cast a new die, and that's probably costly versus, we're talking about making signs, we're talking laminate here.
Oh, cause it is just, this would be, everyone's getting the same one.
Yes,
So that might be an issue to come up with casting a new die, but. Take a
I
picture.
mean, I think this is just bringing to the forefront again, like, we really need to make a decision on what our sign standards are in general, because this is gonna keep coming up. I mean, we're talking about two different kinds of signs here, and it's hard to weigh, like, I don't even know what's about the next one that's coming up, so.
I mean, if they've already cast the die for like an economies of scale,
mhm.
and if I go back to the meeting that we had, right, we were all talking about having the sign, like, we can't, I don't think it's fair to go back and say, well, you've already cast it, you're gonna do this times 250, but one of the 250 is gonna be different unless we pay for it. I mean, that's an assumption based on that.
Size might be something here that we might be able to get around because of, it's like the doctrine of like, impossibility, right? If it's impossible to create a smaller sign with what they're doing, right? As opposed to the Eagle Scout, which is celebrating only one individual, right? One individual. And the sign it's not standard, it's unique to that person.
I get it, right, but what my fear is, Andrew, is so. We wanna set a standard, right? We haven't even codified yet, right, the scouts, we need to do that and hopefully get that through this year so that we can at least start the process for signs. It's hard to set a standard for something in the ground when I think you can make any argument on, okay, cool, the pollinator garden. I'm gonna put the sign on the ground so I can get the granite sign versus that, right? So like. It's almost, for me, I think, treating this as like an outlier. Like, it's very hard to make a decision grounded in precedent.
I think we would do that forever, and that was a little bit of my point, but I agree. We're gonna do that forever, though, like, we could set a standard, and then we'll have another outlier that'll come up that we didn't think of. So the best we can do as a group and future councils is try to be as consistent as possible and make the best decision for the borough of Fairhaven.
Can I clarify something? Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I was gonna clarify something that you said, that the Eagle Scout was just giving the accolades to one person. Originally, it wasn't. If we had kept the description, the original description was actually talking about the collaboration with multiple different groups. And then we chose to take that out. So if anything, we chose to just highlight one person versus.
Well, no,
That
we're
was
putting
his
the,
project.
It was
one person.
But in the description, it did highlight other groups within the borough that worked with him. So it would,
if it didn't put the child's, name front and center, as this is his Eagle Scout project.
but the description did talk about more than just him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not, here or there, but it wasn't just necessarily highlighting one person. If that's our distinction for this one.
And
You know what, we have spent a huge amount of time on this.
Yeah.
And we're, every sign we're discussing as if it's the only sign in the world. And until we come up with a standard for signs, break it down into Boy Scout signs, baseball signs.
In the ground,
resident
above
signs. We're
ground.
gonna go through this every time. And until we do, I think that the Sons of Liberty sign is appropriate because we don't really have anything that says it's not appropriate. It's kind of reminds us.
I think starting from.
And yeah, I was gonna just say, you only turned 250 once.
But
Yeah,
every
you're
sign's
right.
gonna have its
Excellent.
own
Yeah.
particular uniqueness that will
Yes.
lend itself to a conversation. We've gotta get the signage under control, and until we do, every sign that comes up, we're going to approach it as if it's the only one.
Are you talking just about plaques or like banner, everything?
I think we treat plaques and signs all under the same
Same
umbrella.
umbrella.
So everyone,
I'll make a motion.
sure,
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve this with the change suggested unless there's the die cast issue and they only have one, that we let it go, that we let them put it on there if it's a, I don't want to be the one, the only 250. It's different.
Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmembers Gina Stelling,
Yes.
Chloe,
Yes.
Koch. Yes. Barbara,
yes,
Olson.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll ask and then I'll email Allison.
Okay,
The,
thank you.
the obviously, the directive we would like is to do it without the.
Without the middle part, yes.
If-
Hey, but
if
you're
not,
fine with the
due
two,
to the cost, then I think
Yeah.
the direction is to go for.
okay, but you're fine with the two on the side.
I don't think there's any problem with it.
Okay.
You know.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Marie.
And Mayor, I just would like, right, since we set the standard for the scouts, I think we need to get that ordinance introduced and adopted as swiftly as possible to start there, and then we can add on and build.
No.
No, there's no ordinance, we just agree on the standard. So I think we need to get that going and set the language and
Just for scouts or all?
start with scouts and then branch from there and let it grow.
So let's talk about Fairhaven banner requests. Is anyone here? Yeah.
All right, you guys want to talk about more signs?
Just introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm Ben Newman. I'm on the baseball board, spearheading some of the fundraising efforts. And would like to revisit a agreement between the town and Fairhaven Baseball from 2016. The town did allow us to put up signs temporarily, banners on Fairhaven Field number 4 in the outfield. If anyone's been to any other little leagues around the area, you see them kind of up mostly local businesses. The high school even has them on the football field. We are looking to do this again to help with 12U fundraising for Cooperstown, and some of the proceeds would probably stay within the baseball program as well for field improvements and whatnot. The original agreement was for 16 banners. Between the fence panels out there, there is space for up to probably, I think, close to 32. So we would love to do more if possible. We do think that Fairhaven Field probably sees the most games. We estimate about 80 per season, so it's about 5,000 eyeballs. The banner sizes would be around 3 by 8.
It's 3 feet by 8 feet.
3 feet by 8 feet, yeah. And the signs would go up in March, the beginning of the season, and come down at the end of the season, which is usually the first week in November.
Guys, you good? Any other additional information?
No.
I have a few questions. On the original agreement, I'm reading back from 16. It says that a portion of banner revenues must go towards general community improvements. Or is the suggestion that all of the revenue now goes towards,
Not necessarily. I think the agreement in 16, and DJ can confirm, was we provided a porta-john near Fairhaven Field number 4 for general purposes, public purposes.
Yeah, so it varied by year. So it was the community center shed that the town allowed Fairhaven baseball to put there, but other sports were also sourced up there. So we felt that fell under general community improvement, not just solely for baseball. And then in other years, we've used it for things like the porta-john that was at Fairhaven Fields, which will remain up for the whole year. So not just baseball folks would use it, but the whole community.
Yeah, we talked that
That
maybe,
was a thought with that.
maybe like this next year, if this was approved, potentially like maybe a water fountain over there, feeding some water to the fields.
Right, and typically those were, the baseball board would come to the rec committee every year, we would talk about it, and then, report that back to the borough administrator, who would then share it with the governing body, if there was any further discussion or approvals needed for how that, community improvement was gonna be, viewed.
okay, and then the rest of it says baseball specific improvements. There's not something on this agreement that talks about donations for Cooperstown. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be fine with that, but I think it would have to be amended as part of the agreement. To show that. I'm just gonna throw out for everyone, I mean, I personally like to be consistent, if we're gonna approve this as a body. I think it should be restricted to logo. And name of the business. I also don't think we want long mission statements from these businesses. I would also say that, we need to put a restriction on. Alcohol, marijuana, political type of tobacco, tobacco type of advertisements. Some of those might be covered by the state already, I don't know, but we certainly would wanna have that language. I don't think you guys would wanna accept that anyway, but it should probably be in there just in case.
We could send something as an approval, once we got the sponsors as well.
I think we would wanna codify that though, within the ordinance.
Yeah.
On top of just getting the
Yeah.
approval also on the back end. That's all I had. I don't know what you guys think.
I have a couple of things. What was back in 2016, what was the size? I think I was on Parks and Rec back then, so I remember this conversation, but I don't remember the size of the original banners,
I believe it's the same size you're doing now, the 3 by 8s.
Yeah.
They're the same size, yeah.
3 by 8. And but I do remember that one of the conditions was they had to be rolled up. They were only exposed during the actual game. Is that?
No, just for the season, so they would be taken down after the baseball season, which ends, like you were saying, after the first week of November.
But they weren't rolled up in the
No,
apron?
no.
Okay. But we had 16.
16 was the max that was allowed under the agreement, and we did have something in there for inappropriate signs as well, that's in the original agreement, but it was never spelled out exactly what that meant.
And it wasn't limited to not-for-profits, right?
No. Wasn't limited.
So we're only talking about FH4, we're not talking about
Correct.
H1 or community center,
Correct.
just this one field.
Yes.
Allison, a couple of questions. So it said the agreement was reviewed every 3 years. So are we the fourth review? So it was
It was
16,
only done in 2016. I don't think we got anything after that.
so there wasn't a re-review after that.
In 2020, Fair Baseball decided to stop doing it. So Fair Baseball hasn't done it for the past several years.
Okay, so just a question I have for us, do we wanna make it time contingent or make it an approval, right, so they don't have to come back each time unless there's a change to the guardrails? What's the cost per banner that you charge the company?
We think it's gonna be somewhere a little under $100. We're looking to potentially do $600 a banner. So if you're at 16, it's $8,000.
Okay, and what's the exact time? Like from
First,
what date to what
like
date?
basically whenever baseball season kicks off, it should be the end of March to the first weekend in November.
So
There's
like an
limited
episode of
play in
Dark.
August, but
Yeah,
It's not like you're charging enough, what was it? Thing like?
600.
They're making 5.
Page 5, but-
You missed
Okay.
it, wonderful.
I'm done, very done, I know how to charge.
well, this
It's not
just,
sharp.
this was just the first. We didn't go too far into this. We want to make sure we get approved.
Are we,
We talk about the numbers.
I was just gonna get, are we gonna be cool with 32? doubling it?
So my only thought, I don't care about the number as much as I do the look. Is that gonna look on the outfield? Best way I can explain is, there was one point, I think when we did the original downtown, there were too many lights on River Road, and the newer style, we thinned them out and it looks much nicer. You know, I don't want it to look,
Too crowded.
yeah,
Well, they
Why
said
did we
16.
But he asked for 32, right?
maybe 24 is
It'd be
the.
nice to do more than 16. I understand 32 from
I think
Left
it was
field
a
or right
conversation.
field.
I don't think there was any rhyme or reason to why 16, but I think there was discussion that in the future, maybe it could expand, but started at 16, and then it just never moved from there.
Feels kind of tucked back, it's not like anyone really sees it, you know, it's not like right in the center of,
There are kind of trees around it too.
yeah.
I'd be okay with 24.
It's on the perimeter of Fairhaven Fields, like, you don't have the public going through there because it's fenced off. There is one house that backs up there on.
It's kind of two houses, there's one that's sort of center right field, and there's one in left field.
So I'll say where my head is at. I think we ask for an updated agreement. We remove the time commitment. I don't think they need to come back unless they want to change, right? Some parameter. I think the portion of revenues needs to be a percentage, remove ambiguity, right? It should be a set percentage just to make it less ambiguous.
But they're their own entity.
Yeah, I just have one question just to bring up, is we just be careful that we don't go into a different direction. As far as collecting the funds for this will be handled through Fairhaven Baseball, correct?
Correct.
Because the only issue we run into, if we are collecting the funds or we are involved in any portion of this, then is considered a concession and we're selling advertising, and then we have to put that out for an RFP and we'd have to do bids for that space. So that's the one thing that we have to be careful about, is if this is something that you're doing as Fairhaven Baseball and the borough's not involved in it.
Correct.
Then that we just have to make sure that it's handled through Fairhaven Baseball, and we're not handling that aspect of it as far as collection of funds.
And any of the money that comes back we would pay for it with.
Well, I mean, that's something, again, if whatever you guys decide you wanna give back to the borough, you guys decide to give back to the borough of your fundraising, it might not necessarily come from the sale of these signs.
But then this entire bullet here, right, I'm just going off of number 4, then should be struck.
Probably.
This is saying a portion of banner revenue must. So.
Right.
Yes,
Then-
that should, because technically, one could argue that we're selling a concession without an RFP if we're getting a portion of revenue from it.
Just for the record though, Fairhaven Baseball did put a significant amount of money towards the renovation on Fairhaven 4, so the borough and Fairhaven Baseball, so just, they have done this in the past.
Yeah, which that's fine, I just think we just have to be very clear that they're selling signs, this is their thing, we're not running a concession. Where we have to do an RFP and open up the bids. If Fairhaven Baseball, out of their fundraising efforts, wants to donate money to buy a shed or do, field, upgrades, that's one thing, but let's not say it's coming out of the,
Right.
because it may not be.
Check. So remove the time commitment. Once it's approved, it's approved. Remove the 4th bullet, remove any revenue going to the borough. I think we need to include the time that it goes up and when it comes down, not first week or when it starts, but a date, and then. Also codify that there's no political signs, tobacco, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
You know, I would add to that, Drew, who puts it up and takes it down? I think DPW has been helpful in the past, but we're talking.
It would have to be unfair.
It's the baseball board.
Yes, yeah, we can't have the involvement of it.
I'd like to address the time commitment. We have a lot of people that come every year for permission to put up the exact same sign. Not the baseball sign, but Durham Dreams, the Fairhaven Business Association. And because they put up the signs, we require them to come every year for permission. So as much as I would like to give baseball carte blanche and said, do it every year, I think they should follow the same guidelines that other people who put up signs do. So they should come back every year.
I'm fine with it. I have something I want to add, but I don't want to. At the end, I'll bring it up because my mind's working here now. I have a concern.
I hear that, but the signs that are usually in question are for the same real estate space. So are we then gonna allow other entities to use the exterior Fairhaven for? Like if Dermer wanted to put their sign there, you know, from the month of.
You can't stop them from asking.
Totally get it. So then if we're looking then to generalize the usage of baseball field fencing. For sign beyond Fairhaven baseball, then I would agree with that statement. But this is an area in town where there was direct contributions between Fairhaven baseball and the governing body to redo the fields. Right? They pay for half of the cost, I believe, or like 15 grand, right, wherever it was.
Yeah.
So
They have contributed, but I just think if,
Why don't we keep it 3 years then, how it used to be said?
because it wasn't followed. They
You're
did it
right.
in 16 and then it came back in 20, right?
if you
But
stop doing
it
it.
stopped in 20, but it wasn't renewed in 19, right? So like,
Maybe COVID.
Yeah, COVID.
They would have had to come back to one.
sure. You know,
Maybe COVID.
I just think giving someone or any entity unlimited
it's fair. It's, I'm good.
access to signage is
I
not.
have no problem. I'm good then for a year.
Or
Great.
Or 3.
But she said carte blanche, so you're good.
I don't think it's carbon. Would you be okay with 3 years, the way it used to be said, or you'd still be uncomfortable with that?
That was our original agreement with baseball, then I would.
You all right with that?
I'm okay with 3, I'm not okay with unlimited.
I think you put it at 3, and, you know.
Sure. So,
I have one other just quick thing. I don't think we have a special projects administrator.
We do.
DJ,
Oh,
DJ,
DJ, that's
Director
your
of Special
call too.
Projects.
Oh, done. Then forget it. I forgot that. Sorry, DJ. Keep it in there.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Wait, did you want to say something?
I know.
I'm gonna say it after, it's.
I'll specify the motion. We'll keep 3 years in. We're gonna remove the fourth bullet in its entirety, right, Andrew, and ensure that there's nothing talking revenue back to the borough.
Yes,
We're gonna have a time commitment in here of when it goes up, when it comes down, like actual date. And then there'll be a section on the types of banners that are not allowed. That is my motion.
And the number of banners?
Oh, no, no.
I'm good going up to 24.
24?
24.
There's the motion.
Is there a second?
Second,
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmember Spinelli,
yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Silvernair,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, my concern is what you said. That, and I'm assuming that was your conversation with
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yep.
So so we somewhat just set a precedent of, or maybe not, of people. For-profit businesses paying for signs on public property.
Right.
So how do we handle that going forward
So
with other for-profit businesses?
So again. Saying this, we are not, just to make it clear, we are not selling those signs. So Fairhaven Baseball is selling those signs, so they're selling that advertisement as a fundraiser. And they're using borough property to display it. That they've received permission from the governing body to display those signs they've used for advertisement as a fundraiser for their nonprofit. to display them on borough property, so we are not selling them.
They're a nonprofit.
I don't, okay, but I understand that, but it sounds what you were saying is equal time for everyone on public property is the issue.
So we were to sell them, and Nancy might jump in here in a minute, but if we were to sell them, we would have to put out an RFP and put it out to bid. And as far as whoever bid on them, we'd have to award a bid like we would do any other project, because we would be receiving the funds for it under the concession.
So if a for-profit business reaches out to us and wants to put a public sign on public property, not talking about Fairhaven 4.
Well, no, a private sign on public property.
Sorry, a private sign on public property, not talking about Fairhaven 4, talking about in other generalities. We have to open that up to everyone through an RFP process.
If we're gonna receive funding, if we're gonna see revenue from it, yes.
If that's something the council chooses to do, if you choose to open up property for private signs on public land, yes, you would have to go out. It's a concession, you would have to go out and bid it out.
If we said we weren't charging people on public lands, then we would have to offer anyone that had a private business the same opportunity to put signage on our property, correct?
Correct.
Is that gonna be then an issue with our benches? That the beautification committee is proposing?
So the benches are, they're being purchased and they have memorial signs, correct?
But is it like?
No, it is not the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because
No.
if now if.
Because they're buying that bench, they're paying for the bench, they're paying for the plaque.
Right,
It's a donation.
now if Dunkin' Donuts wanted to sponsor
That's
a,
kind of what I'm saying.
they want to sponsor a bench for advertisement for their group, or Acme or any other
Where it's
place
a
in
big
town.
Dunkin' Donut, like the whole thing back end is Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, it's not, if it is a business that does.
It's a small sign donating,
Doesn't matter.
it's like any other bench.
I'm just making sure that we're not.
Yeah.
And just, Nance, one quick question, so. Chris articulated if it's gonna generate revenue,
Right.
meaning if we charge for it.
Correct.
There's no threshold of bid with that, just
No.
if it's charged, it could be $5.
It's a concession, it's
Got it.
considered a
If you don't
concession.
charge for it, you have to allow everyone that wants to put it though, equal access.
Yeah, no, I understand, I just wanted to confirm, okay.
Otherwise, they go through the RFP process to determine who gets the space and for the amount of time and.
So we're gonna codify something for sign.
It's not on the agenda, let's maybe put it on the agenda in
Yeah.
the future
Yep.
and talk about it then. Next up, Historic Association of Fairhaven and Fairhaven Business Association request to host a Yuletide on Main Street event on December 14th at Bicentennial Hall, Historic Swiss Chapel. Is someone here representing those groups?
Yeah.
Hello.
Elise, how are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
Good.
Elise Casey, 263 Fairhaven Road. The Historic Association of Fairhaven, in collaboration with the Fairhaven Business Association, is requesting to host an event on Sunday, December 14th at Bicentennial Hall. That day, we're going to have a trolley around the town. Santa will be at the firehouse, and we are, as part of our holiday 2025 campaign, it's gonna be called Yuletide on Main Street. And we think it's gonna be a beautiful way to showcase Pie Hall and bring people to the business district.
Questions up here?
Is this the same trolley when we go shopping down?
Yeah, Saturday.
No.
It's a different day, it's the same concept, but a
No,
different day.
it's the same kind of trial.
Yes, different day though.
When's that event?
That's Small Business Saturday on November 29th.
It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay,
Is this the same weekend as the tree lighting?
No, that's Friday, December 5th.
Okay. So insurance is taken care of, is that? Allison, we're good with the insurance?
I haven't gotten anything.
Yes, I have,
She's ordered it.
yeah, I have it
Yes.
pending approval. I will provide that for you too.
Okay, can you explain the alcohol side of this? please?
Well, it's something we've put a lot of thought into. Ideally, we offer some sort of festive holiday punch. Preferably somewhere towards the back end of Pie Hall, maybe by the stage, or section off the kitchen area roped off and have someone checking IDs.
It's, they pay for the alcohol and it's just served as
Just
complimentary?
Complimentary, yeah.
We don't need a permit for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, yeah, you can apply for it.
Permit until, it's
Would-
approved.
On that, was there any conversation of drinking in the church? Like, as far as,
Not sure.
That's not sure.
They did it for an art show,
Yeah.
raising funds for
For the estuary.
the farmers market. Estuary.
What, at least when you say collaboration with the business district, is every business on board with this? I'm just thinking like the dates between November 29th, excuse me, to February 5th, and 14th, it's a lot for them. Is that everyone's on board?
I mean, as far as the business association, it's something, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that would be too taxing to do 3 big events. Okay.
It seems like a lot in a short amount of time, but I do know the business district is looking for more opportunities to get exposure. I mean, I think it'll be very sweet. What else is happening in Bicentennial Hall?
So we hope to just do, I don't know if you attended the last, the holiday open house we had a few years ago, but it was kids crafts and
Yeah.
we showcased just some of our archived and old photos. Basically it's that for now. Maybe we'll have some carolers. But nothing, nothing major. I mean, Santa will be at the firehouse, so it's more of a way to get people around town, west of the east end.
Are you putting a tree up? Cause I know that was maybe an issue last year.
Yeah, every year we put up a wishing tree outside of By Hall. So that'll be there in the beginning of December.
Is there any request that DPW pews, anything
No,
like that? No setup whatsoever?
we would probably need some tables and a few chairs, but no, that we would set up ourselves.
no need for police if there's alcohol being served?
You know, Sherry's here. I don't know.
Shouldn't,
We need police and alcohol being served. I'm sure.
prefer.
She here.
Share here?
I didn't know there was the alcohol served at the event. I heard about the trolley, because I know being part of the fire company is same day as Santa at the firehouse. Like, what is each person getting one cup for it, or can they reserve and get as many as they, like, who's monitoring that of how many?
Right.
So that somebody isn't drinking a lot.
Right, of course.
I believe at the art show, it was a 2-drink max.
That's what I say, it would be similar to the estuary.
ABC only allowed 2 drinks per person.
Mhm.
And is someone gonna be monitoring that and?
We could have someone, yeah, it would be very similar to the estuary,
I don't know if you guys require police officer to be there, how long is the event?
11 to 5.
I mean, we can always
Force them to do that.
it would cost though.
Right, yeah, of course.
It's really, that's a liability. That's-
I don't know, I guess it's, I don't, because alcohol is being served.
I'm getting the same sense from everyone that the only issue with this event that I'm hearing, unless I'm missing something, is the alcohol. I think everyone has some concern over that. We have a situation where, you know, it's a public event where anyone from any town can come into town. We want them to come into town, obviously, and spend money in these businesses. But the idea of them drinking and then trying to get on a trolley and get off of the trolley, and a nonprofit entity or multiple nonprofit entities, I'm not sure which one is actually responsible at the end of the day, has to verify whether someone has 1 drink or 2 drinks or 3 drinks or 4 drinks. I think that's the part that's making me uneasy. Outside the alcohol, I don't have any issues, but I don't know how to satisfy that.
I have one other one just to address. I know the last event, and I don't remember which one it was, but they put holes in the walls at Bicentennial.
That was the art show.
Right, so I don't know if there's like a security deposit, but I wanna make sure that like we look before and after. I mean, yes, we're gonna renovate Bicentennial Hall soon, but I don't wanna exacerbate anything with like, you know, hanging up and the paint comes off the wall or stuff like that, so.
I don't think you were
Was the
doing that.
permit
We don't
cover
plan to
that?
hang up anything.
Allison?
I'm sorry.
Like when someone gets a permit for Bison Hall, is there a security deposit? Does the insurance cover that? Like what? No,
We would be named additional insured if there was any damage and held harmless.
I actually, it's interesting you said that. I actually think we need to codify that in all situations, not necessarily just target this one event.
Yeah.
To have that to be protected as a borough, just in case anyone damages Bison Hall or a new beautiful building. You know?
We get a hold harmless and certificate of insurance for any of our.
So we are.
That would cover it, so if somebody, you know, broke a sink in the community center or, you know, you know, broken window, that would be covered on the insurance policy, and then we'd be able to go after for that. for
Yep.
reimbursement.
I don't have an issue with the alcohol, if we can find a way to regulate a little more, like, couldn't you do bracelets, and you know, sometimes the bracelets that have the 2 tab, like, I guess what they do with, like the fireman's fair. You know, when you work, you get those 2 and you can get 2 meals, so. If you can find a way to do that, I would feel comfortable personally.
Well, this is
But-
something that the borough has to look into for every event that we do, right?
Yeah, because we do, what about
And we,
Fairhaven Day?
and
people
we
drink
spoke, and we
whiskey,
spoke
too.
about, right, and we spoke about this before. You know, anything that involves the borough, you know, we have to look at the ordinance, and we spoke about this, I believe it was when. You can probably correct me if I'm wrong, it was during the Fairhaven Farmers Market application, when they were to serve the alcohol. And I believe we had the same discussion. So if we're gonna, you know, enforce things, let's enforce it, you know, uniformly. And so that's something we have to look in totally for every event. As to how we
Agree, but that's-
monitor. The problem with, the difference with Fairhaven Day is,
Yeah.
we have police officers there the entire time.
And farmer's
And
market as well.
Farmer's market.
Farmers market,
But only with that, it was a tasting, exactly,
Tasting.
and it was their liquor license, I don't know if that's the right word, but like, it was their license on the line if they were.
Right.
Spent a lot of time, this is a little bit different, right, it's having a couple pictures, right, and.
right,
The event is from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Would having alcohol or not having alcohol make a big difference? Like, it's not like the estuary event, which is at night, or Fairhaven View, which is at night.
Right.
I'm just wondering if it doesn't change the dynamic of the event, is that important?
It's,
to have
no,
alcohol?
I mean, if it's something that you guys aren't comfortable with, we don't have to do it at all.
Could you do a BYO, Yuletide?
Mocktail.
Yeah.
Mocktail, right, you do a mocktail.
Yeah, no, to your answer, it's not, it'd be great and something, you know,
Yeah.
to add on, but it's not
It was showing a deal
necessary,
breaker.
yeah.
Okay.
I have a question, and I apologize, I couldn't hear what Captain Lambert was saying. Is there a police presence required
To,
at Bicentennial Hall?
Just to have it, I don't,
Are you asking her if she thinks there should be a police officer present for her event? Or do you,
Captain Lambert's.
whether Captain
Yeah, I
Lambert
think
believes there should be a police?
If they are applying, it asks for a security plan, so if you say, I want a police officer there, then they're gonna have to make arrangements to have.
I think you
I mean,
said
wouldn't we want
mocktail.
to have, if we think there'll be extra people coming into town, wouldn't we want a little bit more police presence anyway? Maybe,
But then who pays for that?
I know, I
Yeah,
get.
they would,
yeah.
they would have to pay for it because it's their event, so with the cost wouldn't go to the borough, because again, it's a private
Yeah.
event for the business association, so.
Police could also do a drive-by, like as part of their normal routine, I think we simplify it, make it a mocktail, it still has the same festive spirit, everything else sounds good, and you call it a day.
All right,
But no on-site police officer.
I think there's less of a reason for it if you don't have the alcohol
Yeah.
there, personally,
I
and
agree.
I'm sure they'll do their rounds, right? Save them some money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So make a motion to approve and.
Motion approved, sans alcohol?
Second,
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmembers Massai,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Hodge,
yes.
Rivera,
Affirmative.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you, see you at the Yuletide. All right, next up, we have 2026 brush and leaf schedule. Are you good?
It's standard every year, we just, it's part of our, I mean, every year, right, we vote on the schedule before it goes into the newsletter. It's important that it's voted on before the newsletter's available and printed.
And just to confirm, we're making I know there was some discussion, making no changes from
No
previous years, correct?
changes, keep consistent, everything that we've done, ongoing new pickup is in progress.
Okay, and, all right,
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 PLC.
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Next up, I think I'll actually take this one.
Yep.
If that's all right. So I just wanna explain where this came from. I went for a tour, with Borough Council President Koch last Monday. She wanted to take me through the bird sanctuary and show me all the progress that had been made, and it was pretty awesome. The downside of our trip that day is, as we walked the trails, we encountered what I would call a BMX off-road track. obviously, a bunch of people have been back there with shovels. We found 4 shovels. We found a ton of ramps, holes. It was a little bit discouraging to see all the hard work that was done. You know, turn the condition of these trails in this manner. Now, we already have a ban on e-bikes in all these areas, but what I saw when I was walking around Harding Bird Sanctuary, there's no reason to have any bikes back there. Zero. This isn't like Fairman Fields where you have flat lands and you can recreationally bike under the right conditions. The landscape there just doesn't afford any reasonable suggestion for that recreation. It's in the back. It shouldn't, but we don't have any ordinance banning the bikes in that area. So that's what I'm asking for, is in addition to the e-bike ban, I'm asking for a ban on bikes only in the Harding Bird Sanctuary. I'm not looking to ban normal bikes right now in the natural area. And I'm, you know, obviously I'm also gonna use this opportunity again to talk about e-bikes and the danger of e-bikes. It's a huge safety issue in the borough of Fairhaven. I'm not gonna stop talking about it, while I'm up on this dais, because I want every single person that gets on one of those bikes to get home at the end of the night and be safe. But that's not on the agenda right now. Harding Bird Sanctuary is. Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
I'm not as familiar with it, but can it be used as a cut through though, so people are living on the other side of it? I mean, if kids, because otherwise then those kids have to go on Ridge Road, and I think like as a parent, I would prefer them to be in the trail than on Ridge. So that would be my only hesitation, is eliminating a trail that kids are, like a safe, I mean, you're saying the ground is not safe, but in terms of traffic, that would be safer.
They could go Harrison Harbor.
So I
Is
think
there-
there's safer outlets.
Cause I'm,
If you go through there, you're also on Ridge Road with no sidewalk on either side of you. You're better off, you know, I think Harrison, that's where we built new ones like 5 years ago or whatever, 3 years ago.
Sidewalks in there, going to Harrison.
Yeah. And Harbor
Yes,
too.
we put them in, so there's other outlets to get you where you wanna be that are safer.
Okay.
You know,
Mayor, just 2 things, and one. Where does it, like, Harding Bird is one of multiple open areas, right? So like. Where does it end as far as like banning and, you know, for safety preservation? I know you hit upon, hey, we're not talking about natural area right now, we're just talking about this, that's number 1. And number 2, like, from an enforcement practicality perspective. If the enforcement's not there and the education's not there, we can have all the like ordinance we want, so if you just help me with
Sure.
that too?
so my job's, and your job is not enforcement, right? Our job is to give enforcement the tools to enforce, right? That's what I'm trying to do here. As far as where it stops, maybe it doesn't stop, but from my standpoint, the way that I see this. If you walk those trails in the back, it's all peaks and valleys.
Check.
There's not flat land there, there's not an area where it's, you know, you're cruising along. Relaxing, biking or whatever, this is an opportunity, I think there's even some liability there for kids that are even trying. Not to do stunts and stuff like that, it's just not conducive to bike riding and we don't have it on the books right now.
Check.
It's also
Oh, oh.
damaging a lot of the understory because
Oh,
they're creating trails.
So totally get it, right?
And the trails don't go out to Princeton on Harbor. That it's obvious the trails are by Ridge Road. And it's, the trails are just lined with trees and, you know, one slip on the bike. And they're gonna take a header into the tree.
Beyond the safety side of things too, I just wanna make sure everyone here realizes, the things I counted, like, there's bridges that are made there. The kids are ripping the bridges up. To build ramps for themselves,
they're destroying.
it's a,
The destroying property thing though, like, so I almost.
there's a separate,
If we, like,
That's
I mean,
vandalism.
it's vandalism,
Okay.
so I think that's like.
it's a pervasive issue though, in general. And I think especially in Harding Bird, it also would give the police the tools to say anybody that they see headed in that direction, they know they shouldn't be back there.
And it also weakens the bridges that the people who are in the sanctuary, they're walking there.
Yeah, they can break and get hurt.
It sets up a dangerous situation for them.
Has this come up in the Harding Bird Sanctuary meetings at all, like the committee meetings? I know there's a committee, so I'm just wondering if
As
this,
far as the about bikes,
yeah.
it has, so last couple meetings, I usually attend them with Council President Koch.
Mhm.
The last couple meetings, we had discussed about, bikes being back there. And I reached out to the police several times. I've had discussions with our DPW director, Nick Porchinski. When a lot of this was found, and it is an issue, so they're aware of it, and they understand the need to prevent bikes from going in there as well.
I also don't want to veer in another direction, but I know, Carolyn's sitting over there probably get upset too, like, this is also a pervasive issue. Very similar with the bridges being taken apart and stuff in the natural area as well. I do think it's a little bit of a different landscape. I think there is room for people, not on e-bikes, but on regular bikes, to enjoy our natural areas and find ways to use them as for bike riding in the trails. The vandalism is a separate issue, but at the Harding Bird, I don't see any reason whatsoever anyone should be back there on the bike.
And Josh, is it bikes, e-bikes, scooters, like the
E-bikes
whole class?
E-bikes are already outlawed for, in all of our natural areas. I believe that's codified. We're talking about all of these for the Harding Bird Center.
And we've already purchased signs too that we've put up in our natural area, also our Fairhaven dock as well, because we had issues with, people riding e-bikes on there as well and skidding out. So we have signs up there as well for the enforcement, and once this will pass, I've actually proactively ordered signs that we can put up at the Harding Bird Sanctuary, so we can notify residents as well.
Trust what you're saying. I think I always want to like visually see this with.
I'll take you there. I would love to. All
Well,
right, let's do that.
And also, this isn't something we're voting on right now. It's gonna have to be introduced to the next meeting, so absolutely go take a look.
Yeah, I'll take.
Nope.
And Councilwoman Di Maselli, I have some pictures too that the mayor forwarded me from that visit, so I can send them to you as well if you want to see some of it.
I just wanna make a note, like, I love as many levers as we can to promote safety, right? Bikes, e-bikes, all of that have been a critical issue, right? So I love the proactivity of this, and I thank both of you for doing it.
Next up, public comment on agenda items only. Please observe 3-minute time limit. Please identify yourself by clearly stating your name and address for the record. Anyone with a public comment on agenda items only? Okay, no. Allison, oh, sorry, Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn Ferguson, 7 Colonial Court. I'm the chair of the Natural Area Committee. Thank you for bringing up the issue about the damage in the Harding Bird Sanctuary and the natural area. It really is a very significant issue in the natural area. People are digging holes, building ramps, building bridges, taking away bridges. They're really causing destruction. And like one of the slogans we have in the natural area is the trees for us, the rest for nature. Like we want people to stay on the trails because foot traffic off the trails is really damaging the natural processes that are supposed to occur there. I did encounter 2 young boys this weekend. I talked to them. They were very nice. They had an e-bike. At the end, I invited them to volunteer weekend this weekend, and then they came and found me and asked how to sign up. So I found the 2 nicest boys in town. I think one observation is that we never saw this before e-bikes started. So I do feel like this thing with the ramps and stuff is really kind of brought on by the e-bikes. And then Paul raised a good question about bikes in the Harding Bird Sanctuary. Could you walk a bike through there? So I think that's a good thing to think about. The e-bikes definitely damage the trails, and we know they're not allowed to begin with. Probably the bikes not as much, and certainly walking a bike, I don't think you would damage the trails. But I just wanted to share some information, and like I said, from what we've seen, this problem has just really occurred in the last 2 years. So we think it's more related to the e-bikes than regular bikes.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Public comment, agenda items only?
I'm Cynthia, want to see Batten. I just wanted to add a little bit to this since I'm on both the natural area and the Harding Bird Sanctuary Committee, and I've been in both of the areas a lot recently, doing some plantings, and I have encountered young people riding their regular bikes through there on their way, cutting through, and they didn't seem to be doing anything. So I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to put on my young person hat here and thinking how much fun it is to be out in the woods and riding a bike and like feeling adventurous and all this. And I'm trying to figure out a way to help them have a safer. And I keep going back to the brush grind site. I'm like, we could somehow give them a piece of that where they could build things, they could do something, they'd be outside. I just. I don't know, it just seems like we should maybe think hard about some way to help these kids have outdoor fun. Understand e-bikes is dangerous and a problem, and they are causing lots of destruction, but. I mean, I almost wonder if this might be an argument for the open space tax, so we had some money to work with and maybe build some things for them and, you know, and explore options.
No idea how you connected those two things, but I just. Okay,
Because I mean, I just was reading the paper and those silver up theirs, and I'm like, okay, wow, and so they have all this money to spend on stewardship and. You know, thinking about the care of their natural areas, I don't know, it seems to make sense to me, but we still have that. Area off of Third Street Trail, I mean, there's just like possibilities, so anyway, I just think we should think about these kids too, and not just be. Total grumpy old, you know, people, and I don't know, I don't know what the vision is, but.
I hear you. It's actually a challenging situation because there's a huge part of me. And I think I've expressed that in some emails to folks as they've complained. That I'd much rather them be outside riding their bikes than playing video games at home. Not that video games are bad, but not always. I don't want them playing video games. They're doing things that are worse than that, obviously. So there is an inherent benefit to kids being kids. The other side of that, though, is also my role as mayor and looking out for the borough area. And without getting into too much detail, seeing some of the videos I've seen this week and the danger that it presents to our community, I have to look out for the municipality at a certain point. So I totally understand what you're saying, and I understand why you're saying it. At the end of the day, I see an inherent safety risk. They're vandalizing property. It's hard for us to, you know, just say, well, you know, there's just one bad apple. When you go back there and you find 4 shovels and there's an entire BMX
No,
course.
I'm not,
So,
I've seen what they've done, I've had to work with the whole, they've done and everything else, so I get that, and e-bikes are a problem, but I just. Wanted to try to explore some.
And I also appreciate you pointing out that Little Silver raised their open space tax after they initially passed it. They raised it even higher after that.
You cannot have enough money to take care of the natural space.
Exactly.
That is the moral of the story.
I agree. Thank you, Bob. Anyone else? Allison?
No.
All right, we're gonna move along to approval of minutes, October 27th, 2025, regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve as presented? Motion.
Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmember Sally,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Hot,
Yes.
Rivera,
Affirmative.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you. Anyone up here have any old business? No, we'll move to new business then. Introduction of ordinances, 2025-19, reintroduction of amended stormwater management ordinance. Right, anyone have anything on this before I ask for a motion?
Just, it's identical to what we introduced at the previous meeting. This is Monmouth County did a review, right? And provided updates to ensure that there was alignment.
I have a couple things, just
Sure.
because there are a couple changes in here, but one thing overall, obviously I support this and I'm excited about it. But I do want to just be conscious of any kind of undue burden to applicants, and I talked to Chris about this, I know Rich knows. Just to be aware of like how much extra time it's taking people to do these applications, and then also how much they'll end up paying in professionals that they may not have had to do before, or maybe not have had to hire before, so. I absolutely support this, but I want to be conscious of this. I know that there was some discussion, so just from your point of view, how much extra time do you think it'll take? And how much in professional fees do you think?
So-
that?
As I had mentioned in some prior meetings, we're working with homeowners and applicants already on trying to get some type of stormwater management or have them manage some of that stormwater, even though it's not an ordinance, depending on the project or type of work we're doing. Obviously, this will solidify through an ordinance and be specific to certain thresholds and type of work. Having said that, the way the land use office works is when people submit these different, whether it's a street opening permit or any other outside agency approval or a zoning permit, things kind of run concurrently. So we feel that it's gonna be the same. We're gonna be dealing with the same point of contact. They're gonna come and submit a whole package to us. The only difference is instead of it going directly right onto the zoning table, desk, some of it'll come over to my desk. And then we all work together anyway in the room and we'll work through it. And that's how we envision it. Statutorily, we have 10 business days to turn around, or 10 days to turn around zoning permit, obviously, much quicker than that. And the thing is, when you have these types of projects, and I've mentioned this before, the applicant is really only as good as their profession. So if you have a good architect or a good engineer, good surveyor, they've got everything they need, full package gets submitted, it'll go right through the process quickly. Where people get hung up is they forgot to submit certain things, or they left certain things off a drawing, or things are incomplete, or they didn't pay all the fees or whatever. That's where things get hung up. The other answer to your question is, and I had also mentioned, there is no one size fits all. We're already getting a lot of this for the new construction, for the major renovations, some of these larger projects, obviously before zoning and planning board types of projects. Where we're capturing the other types of work is through the additional, and that's the key, the additional impervious coverage. 400 square feet. Most of the towns that have gone this route have adopted 250 square feet. So we felt we struck a balance. Okay, this kind of puts us into this threshold. And as I mentioned, if you're doing a large hardscape in your backyard, we just need you to do something. It could be a vegetative strip to capture some of that runoff and soak it back into the ground. It's not all dry wells. It's not all bring a huge machine in, dig a pit and fill it with
It's not major
salt.
infrastructure, it's just.
It could be a rain garden.
Could be rain gardens and
it could be
trees.
Plantings, it could be a vegetative strip. Obviously, best management practice, but it's a low impact, low scale type of improvement that honestly, we're just looking to prevent runoff to the neighboring properties and also runoff to our streets, into our street, which creates additional flow into our systems. So every project's different. It depends what zone you're in, if you're a smaller lot versus larger lots. But we work with them. We give them, ideas, and we do work with the same professionals. It's a very similar group of professionals that submit.
And
With
Rich,
Borough.
the intent, right, please correct me, the intent was balance cost and time considerations.
Yes.
With an understanding that given how stormwater does pose an issue now, given the increase in volumes and everything, that all residents have to play a part, right? So that was, in addition to kind of closing the loophole from under development, that was the intention. Hey, how do we balance the least amount of impact, but we make sure that everybody takes a little bit of the onus, right? So that we can help combat the issue that exists, really.
And,
in the entire state.
we want to be on the forefront. We know that NJDEP will at some point bring these in, that's why these different groups and other municipalities like ours are already starting to implement some of this. And like I mentioned, we're already working with folks out there on a lot of these projects. It's just trying to do a little more to make it benefit. Overall.
So again, thank you. I have a couple other random things. So it says we're adopting it on November 10th. We're not.
I've changed
You
that.
changed that.
Okay.
And then, I had a couple questions why these were added, but now I know it was the
Okay.
County, which is awesome. I'm so happy they looked at it. There were a couple of notes in here. I'm assuming they're coming out, but there was one that said over her head. Did you see that one?
Yeah,
Was that clarified?
it had to do with the stone, the 40%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just as long as that was clarified.
It's a engineering way of calculating based on volume of that.
And does that make sense to you? And
Yeah.
Oh, just one last, so additional, this is. The recharge filtration or filtration system to include simple dry wells, seepage pits, or recharge trenches shall meet the following criteria. So this is additional recharge systems or capacity may be required by the borough engineer, the planning board or zoning board, so as to comply with the intent of this ordinance based on the nature and extent of the proposed drainage from renovations, whatever. Are you saying they have to come back, like,
No, it gives us flexibility, so if what they're proposing, if we feel it's not enough, we can tell them, hey. We think you need a dry well.
Okay.
And take this back portion of the house or
Okay,
something.
awesome.
That-
and there's nothing in this that has anything that's currently done. But if they were to make any changes, then they'd have to go according to this, right?
Correct.
So nothing, like, no one has to backtrack,
Grandfather.
Yeah,
Grandfather
they're all
in.
grandfathered in.
but if they made any changes, then they would.
Has to
then
be.
it would trigger.
Technically, well, if we're gonna be
Well, for.
detailed, once it's adopted. Then
Yes.
then it's codified, right,
Yeah.
Andrew?
Right.
And then from the codification, then if somebody did something, then met the criteria,
Yeah.
then it.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
What else? Motion approved.
Make a motion to introduce 2025-19.
Second,
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmember Spinosali,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Scott,
yes.
Rivera,
Affirmative.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you. 2025-20 bond ordinance improvements to Cambridge Avenue. Who wants to take this one?
Rich can talk about that one because he's doing that project.
So, we got a DOT grant, local aid, municipal aid for Cambridge Avenue, and that's my next project that we're gonna be designing. I had an engineer's estimate as part of that grant. The amount of the grant, I believe, is in the bond ordinance, it's 200 and. So I made a
71,
recommendation to our administrator that in order for us to move forward with this project, we need, funding. fund balance.
And which is what we would do for any project of this sort.
Questions?
So it's a difference between 800 and 271.
Correct.
On what it was.
Correct.
Who will make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, third.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilmember Spinosali,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Rivera,
Affirmative.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you. 2025-21 supplement Borough Code, Chapter 2-26.5, police personnel to include a police chaplain.
So the chief had reached out to the mayor. A lot of police departments are having police chaplains. It's again, it's been a recommendation from best practices for law enforcement. Somebody, who's a member of the clergy who can come out and again, counsel somebody that they're having a bad time. Maybe counsel an officer who sees a traumatic incident. It's just another resource available. Also could counsel the community if there would happen to be some mass incident that happened here in town, there was somebody who'd be available. So the police had reached out to the mayor requesting if we could have a chaplain. We do not currently have a chaplain ordinance. There are other municipalities that do have chaplains. Red Bank has multiple chaplains from their community. Middletown has multiple chaplains with their community. So in order for us to appoint somebody as a chaplain, we would have to do an ordinance. Now, again, just the background, so you know about cost. Chaplains work voluntarily. So it's not somebody, they come out, they're gonna bill us for services or pass the plate around, after, meeting with people. This is strictly on a voluntary basis. Again, just to have an extra resource if needed, during a traumatic incident.
I was also told they're non-denominational.
Fire
So-
department has one, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a couple of, is there a job description for this position?
There currently is not, no. Again, we don't even have an ordinance. But we could have the chief create one if the council was so inclined to create a ordinance position for chaplain.
So it would seem to me that a chaplain would be very important in a community during a time of crisis.
Correct.
So I would like to see whoever it is, who's ever selected, be a member of our community that's familiar with the residents of Fairhaven and, not hire somebody from Middletown or that. I mean, I'd like to see a job description for this, even if it's voluntary. I agree.
And again, that's something, again, even if for the ordinance, I mean, if that was a change that, the council is looking to do, again, some towns, again, Red Bank, I think they pick their chaplains from within their community. Middletown does. I don't know if it's universal to every other town, but most towns have their several places of worship. Some have multiple chaplains, some multiple, denominations, or in the Middletown, I think has 8, and but has several themselves. So you could put that in there. They would have to be a member of clergy from town. That could be something that could put in the ordinance, which would narrow down where they came from, and then we could put together a job description of what they would do.
Can we legally, in the job description, say they have to be from Fairhaven? I know we could select someone from Fairhaven, but can we legally say?
Is that this?
Well, but if you think about it though, technically, to be on the council, you have to live in Fairhaven, so you're appointing a person in a volunteer position. So technically, yeah, you could, we could appoint somebody to, the Shade Tree Commission if they lived in Little Silver. So, yeah.
But what if we want the best individual for the job? Like, I'm all for within, but like.
I think we should start within, like, I would love to at least have our faith community involved, maybe in the process, or start with them, and then if that doesn't, but I don't know that that necessarily needs to be spelled out in the ordinance. But I also just, one thing, can we make this a like, multiple chaplains, like not just say one chaplain, we are opening up a position?
I made a form.
You did, okay.
I think from my conversation with the chief, I don't want to speak for him, obviously, we'll have the opportunity in the coming week to do that. I think I recalled him saying that, the chaplain might be a former police officer.
Yeah, but not from our town.
Yes, the person.
Not from the town, but I think it helps with if a policeman needs to have a conversation with someone, that they're having it with someone that's gone through some things that they've gone through.
Yeah, so the person the chief is looking at, who had approached him, is a retired police lieutenant from Kingsburg. Currently works as a Monmouth University police officer, and I guess has some type of ordination, and has been reaching out to chiefs in the area to be a chaplain for their police department.
On the job description, which I think is a great idea, but we do have qualifications and duties, and the qualification says. They shall be certified, shall be a certified police chaplain credentialed in accordance with New Jersey Police Chaplain regulations. I feel like that's pretty close. Maybe sufficient.
Well, I would like to see him, our first choice be somebody who's a member of our community. That's,
And do they come to, how do they get picked though? So would it just be the chief who picks it, or does it come to personnel? Like, what is that? Is it you?
Well, so they have, so the chief can make his recommendation of who he would want, but ultimately the governing body would have to make the appointment and vote on it.
It says appointment, the chief of police shall identify the person, and I put plural, that he or she believes meet the qualifications of NJSA. And the character, standards, rules, and regulations of the Borough of Fairhaven Police Department. The chief shall make recommendation to the mayor regarding the number of police chaplains to be appointed, whom he recommends be appointed for the following year. The mayor shall appoint a police chaplain in accordance with this ordinance and with the advice and consent of the Borough Council.
I think the ordinance is fine.
Yeah, right, fully supportive. Quick question, I know it's not like a borough employee, but are there any other cap costs, like insurance, benefits, anything that's given to?
Uniform.
So is that all in cap?
I would think it's in cap.
Well, they wouldn't, we wouldn't do any of that for them. So they, I mean. They're coming in and acting, so we're not buying them a uniform, we're not, they're just.
But if they're
coming there.
coaching, if they're counseling, right, and God forbid something happens, right, there's a liability, there's gotta be insurance associated with it.
Well, cause like, we don't have insurance for our committees and commissions, our volunteers and committees and commissions. I know they're not counseling, but it is sort of this similar.
The chief could also appoint somebody within the police department. Who may be an ordained minister.
Chaplain, you'll be a chaplain?
Or, I mean, it's.
It would be just good to know, I'm fully supportive of this, I think it needs to happen, it probably should happen a long time ago, I'm thinking of COVID and how beneficial this would have been had during COVID. Right, but there are considerations, right, there are liability considerations, if there is a police officer struggling, then they confide in the chaplain, and. I just think we need to educate ourselves a little bit more on it, I'm fully supportive, I think we introduced it.
So to answer your question, any costs associated with that chaplain, so let's say you bought him a golf shirt, that said chaplain on it, that would be an in-cap expense. So there's nothing outside of cap, this is not a shared service with a group, this is a private individual who we're appointing, so any if we bought him, you know, a notebook and a pen, that'd be an in-cap, so those would all be in-cap expenses. to answer your
Yeah, I'm
question.
talking more insurance and the Fairhaven Fire Department has done this. I'm sure we can make a quick phone call to say, hey, you know, what are the considerations? and
Well,
whatnot.
they would be different because they're not a borough entity, they're a private corporation, so what we probably have to do is find out, you know, the chief can do research.
We'd have to talk to Labor Council real
Yeah.
quick.
Yep.
Okay, we can contact another police department
Yeah.
town that does this,
Yeah,
see the
exactly.
lessons learned that they have,
Yeah,
make sure that we're.
I could reach out to Matt Giacobbe and see what he says.
Yeah, just.
Sign the home branch. Well, I'm saying, but they'll know, like, do they have insurance? Do they need insurance? I just think.
You still want to introduce
I
it?
do, 100%, I think this needs to happen.
Does someone want to
I'll make a motion, introduce 22nd.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Sally,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Pat, I'm saying. Robert Bear,
Affirmative.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you. Next up, consent agenda resolutions 2025-263 through 2025-270. Before I ask for a motion, does anyone want to separate anything? Does anyone have any comments on anything? Does anyone want to make a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Allison, may I please have a roll call?
Councilman Sally,
Yes.
Hoey,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Robert,
Affirmative.
Olson.
Yes.
And you're all good for this special meeting, I just have to make sure we have a quorum for the chief.
What time is it?
6 p.m.
Six.
That's
Yes.
the
Next
Three
meeting, right?
candidates, I think.
hour before our normal.
Allison,
Yes,
I will probably have to zoom in because I'm going away, that's week of Thanksgiving, so,
it's executive session.
so I can't.
Will we have like
We'll
all
open
the,
it and then that's what we'll.
will we have like all the materials beforehand, like, you know, resumes, all that
Yes,
stuff? that
yes,
we can
yeah.
prepare?
Yeah, I'll have all that information. Cap, I believe you did interviews, the first round of interviews today with candidates.
Well, half of them.
Okay.
So tomorrow we're considering.
So once you have selected your finalist, you or the chief will forward that to us to review. Yep, so we'll have all that ahead of time.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, department reports, October 2025, municipal clerk, dog license, municipal court. Michael, I always really like to say a motion with a thank you.
Oh, yes. Motion with thank you.
Here, second.
Second.
Councilman Hoey seconded that. All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, next up is good of the borough. Please stand and identify yourself by clearly stating your name and address for the record. I actually have a few things. First, we have something about amending the commercial filming ordinance.
Yeah.
Someone gonna talk to that, Allison?
Yeah, we'll both talk through it. So, we've recently had an uptick of, you know, people from, film groups coming in, looking for, licenses. Allison and I had a meeting the other day. It's been roughly 10 years since the last time we've updated it. And there's probably some updates regarding fees, so we are on the same par as our surrounding municipalities. We would like to make requests to update the fees and have that introduced next meeting.
Agree with that?
And
Okay,
we have sample ordinances from like communities that we can compare and update, bring it back to the council next meeting.
okay. So I wanted to bring it up to you guys that I thought was for the good of the borough, just reflecting on this year, the election. Congratulations to all the candidates for running great campaigns. Really appreciate everyone putting themselves out there. Look forward to congratulating winners in the coming days. But reflecting on some of the things that went on, you know, specifically at public events where we would receive complaints about political signage. I was hoping that maybe we could all agree to maybe put something together to introduce that would ban political signage at public events, even if there's a permit for those events. And I'll just give an example where this is coming from.
Mayor, you can just keep it broad as far as, you know, signage and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because that'll be.
There's a matter on executive.
But as far as, you know, speaking about political signage, and you can speak, but as far as putting it together ordinances or anything like that, we can't just.
I wanna make sure I'm clear on what you're saying.
So not speaking about any laws related to it, as far as what your feelings are as to.
So my feelings
whether they're
are,
present or not.
my feelings are that in the future, or maybe not in the future, but these are just my feelings. Even at public events that have permits, where people have permits to hold the event. I don't think we should, in the spirit of our community and bringing everyone together, we should have political signage of any kind, whether it's a cart that's sponsored by a political group. Whether it's someone walking around with a political sign on their stroller. I think it would be consistent with our community if we would, not being able to hand out brochures at these events. I think it would be, consistent with the spirit of our community if we would discuss those a little bit further. Is that a good way to say what I was saying?
Does it? Yes.
Okay.
I think we can
This
discuss
came
that.
up in the past, right? When we had folks from Rumson who were campaigning during rec football or rec soccer or whatever it was, right?
So that was somewhat of, I don't really mean the word bad actor, but you know what I mean when I say that. And I think that was just someone acting on their own, sort of walking around.
Okay.
I think I'm talking a little bit more organized.
Okay.
But cause you're never gonna be able to control everyone and what they do and all that. But I think if we put a standard. I think if we discuss a standard and we all agree to it, then maybe it'll be a good thing for the community. That's.
I do think handing out lit versus like having a sign on a stroller or like a button or a shirt, like it's gonna get a little bit. It's not as easy as like not having a sign. Handing out lit is one thing.
I think I'm talking about lit and signs in general, like there's, I realize that there's gonna be people that are gonna walk through and they might have a shirt on or something like that, there's obviously a differential, and maybe that's where we have to figure out. What seems right and maybe what's a little bit overboard, but, that's just my thought. I think that it would be for the good of the borough, which is the exact part of this agenda I put this on. I'll end with something a little bit more positive. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. I just want to point out to everyone that in town, there's an unbelievable project that's put together every year. And they put signs on the lawns of all the veterans and the veterans' families. And tomorrow's the only day of the year that we ask to honk. We don't want people honking when they don't have to around town, but tomorrow we would like everyone to show their appreciation for all the veterans and their families, and I hope to see everyone tomorrow at the Veterans Day ceremony at Memorial Park as well.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
One of our residents, Carissa Gabbaro, is the person who has spearheaded this. She started this, I think, 3 years ago, and she has quite a committee now. Especially high school kids that volunteer to distribute the signs. She puts a goodie bag together for each of the veterans. But to me, the best part of the goodie bags are the students at Sickles School, and each student writes 1 or 2 notes to a serviceman, and it goes in the bag, and they draw pictures and they thank the service person for their contributions and for their service, and it really is beautiful what they've done. And now she's got Rumson to be a part of it too. So Rumson's doing their version. So it's really spot on. It's a very wonderful thing she's doing for our veterans.
Mayor, just one go to the borough, and I love the idea of it's the signs and standardizing, it's great. I put together, in coordination with Rich and DJ and Chris and Josh, a detailed summary of Bicentennial Hall. It was sent to HPC, but we made sure it was sent out to the governing body, just so that all the information, all the facts, dating all the way back to 2010, were in one consolidated place. So if you have any questions on it, there's like 17 attachments to it, just given all the artifacts, so.
Through fashion.
And a PowerPoint.
You can do a PowerPoint?
It's in your inbox, I guess you already, had a read receipt too, no. But take a look at it, it's just meant to, all the information one page, yeah, exactly, a lot of time has passed and want to make sure decisions are made with all the accurate information.
I have a public service announcement, for the planning board and the zoning board. There are scammers, that are getting a hold of the, board's agendas and sending, emails to applicants requesting them to wire funds to make sure that their application is heard. The borough does not accept wired funds. We do checks. If you have a question, call the borough. Tell your friends and neighbors. Chris, did I miss anything?
No, so, we're gonna actually put a disclaimer out, so that so anybody's aware, anybody does an application, obviously the borough does not do electronic payments or wire transfers. And, that'll be on every application. However, we'll make announcements at the, Councilman Olson's gonna make announcements at the zoning board and the planning board, so they're aware. But again, in this day and age, everybody's looking for an opportunity to, take advantage of somebody and somebody makes a legit email, where they put a copy of the borough seal that looks like a valid email, so they might think, I gotta get my stormwater management plan in, so if I send the wire transfer, Rich will do the application quicker, but
Chris,
it's not the way it is.
what happens if a resident gets that email? What should they do? in
So
response?
fortunately, we have not had any incidents here. This came in fortunately, I mean, that could change by tomorrow. However, our land use attorney, Doug Kovacs had, sent that to us this morning. Let us know that there are municipalities that are dealing with that. And, so we wanted to get ahead of that. So I had a meeting with, Sheila Olson today. Brian and I had some correspondence that went back and forth. We talked with Fred Ralph from the, planning board and Todd Leader from the zoning boards. Everybody's on board with it. If for some reason somebody does become a victim of that, the best thing they can do is contact the police department immediately, get a report done, and they can continue the investigation, because that is a criminal matter at that point.
And the best education is don't reply, don't engage. If you have any questions, pick up the phone and call the borough.
Correct.
That's what's in the disclaimer.
Great. Yeah, but if anybody has become a victim of that already and they haven't reported it, again, contact the Fairhaven Police Department tomorrow, get a report done, and we'll get the investigations.
Allison, is there something we can send out on a blast to the residents to let them know about it?
Yep, we can get a blast out tomorrow.
And just include the education piece too.
Only they did it for good. They spent their time. I do have a clarification on the chaplain, so, this is from Long Branch, but they don't have insurance, but they do have mandatory training to be a chaplain. So,
Who provides the training?
I guess it's, I don't know.
It's probably the provision
Because
from
it said, yeah, it said they had to have certification or something, so there must be a state training, I'm guessing, I don't know, but they do get trained.
I believe there is, yes.
I would say, just as a matter of record, before anybody was to be appointed, they would have to provide that certificate to the borough.
Yeah.
To make sure they're in compliance with the training and the training's up to date. I'm sure it probably it's renewable, so.
And it has to go through the police department because they are given badges, with their identification. So, they would be officially police personnel.
Good, I'm good. Anyone go to the borough?
Carolyn Ferguson, 7 Columbia Court. I'm once again here as the chair of the Natural Area Committee. It is volunteer weekend in the natural area this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 1. Both days meet at the community garden entrance. As usual, we'll be pulling vines, pulling wood out of the woods. You guys all know the drill, but if you could tell your family and friends, we'd appreciate your help to make it a success.
Thank you, Carolyn. Go to the borough? Yes, so, come on up.
Hi, Susan O'Brien, 875 River Road. The next time we have a storm and they're going to be picking up branches, etc., could you send out like an email? Because nothing went out this time.
I don't think we did you mean a special pickup? We didn't do a special pickup this time.
Yeah,
I think it was part of our normal brush and leaf schedule. Is it possible that if there was a large limb on the side of the street and the DPW saw it, they grabbed it? I don't.
no, actually, in the email that came out down towards the bottom, it just said, leaf pickup will resume once DPW has finished picking up the storm debris. So I said, oh, so I'm out there at night in the dark, pulling my 4 cans of brush out, and they picked them up.
Yeah.
So they were going around picking it up.
So again, I defer to Rich or Nick, I'm not aware of a special pickup,
No.
so picking up storm debris might mean on borough property, I don't know what the, you know, we did
No, this
not.
was because I had seen, some other people on, up the other end of River Road. They had their cans out with their branches in. And I thought, oh, maybe they just think it's pickup until I read that in the, in our email notification. So there was a little oblique reference to it. So I hauled my stuff out because I had a lot.
Again, I can't speak to the reference.
Yeah, we did not really get too many phone calls about, generally after most storms, we get a lot of phone calls because there's a lot of debris. This storm did not put as much debris out as expected, a lot of water.
Except in my yard.
You might have been the outlier in the whole situation, but we did pick up your debris, correct?
Oh, yeah, that,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good, yeah. I know I did have
Absolutely.
a conversation with Nick Porchinski after the storm. And yeah, and he said, listen, DPW was going to go out and check the streets to make sure that, you know, there wasn't, but there really wasn't a lot. So there was really no need.
That's why I answered you the way I did, is because I was on email, there was one email that came in asking for it, and it was deemed that it wasn't necessary.
Oh, so all I have to do is ask for it?
If there's a high magnitude, you know, but it's a lot of cleanup needed, we would put it out. Again, we didn't, there really wasn't a lot. Again, I apologize for yours, but we did pick yours up. But, you know, if there wasn't a lot, so there was no need to put it out.
It also
Yeah,
coincided with fall pickup,
correct,
but then we're making that.
yeah, so.
Oh,
So they just,
so it was, okay.
it
So
coincided.
it's sort
with
of the
final
tail end of,
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
our guys are good, like if
They went out
they're
to
driving
job.
around and they see something
Yeah.
that to the benefit from a safety standpoint, they grab it, and, you know. Is it 100% consistent? Maybe not, but like it's for the greater good.
I was just going to try to figure out what I was gonna do for the winter, because I always get stuff down. And I already had my 4 cans full, so I took full advantage of that little.
Now they're empty, now they're empty.
Well, not quite. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Josh, on that note, quick shout out to Jim O'Brien. He stayed super late during that storm and was in inches of water cleaning the storm drains. I saw him.
Yeah, they did phenomenal.
Kudos to the entire DPW crew during that storm.
Go to the borough. Allison,
No one has their hand up.
okay, we are going to move to executive session, I think, first time in a long time. The time is 8:40 PM, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?
We're not hearing you say goodnight, Fairhaven, or
We go home.
It's like-
It was like 10 years ago, like
it's awesome.
viral dance thing that went around.
Right?
Hi,
Hi, I'm there.
hello. We've completed executive session. And now we're gonna move to adjourn. Time is 9:54 PM. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye, aye.
Anyone opposed?
Negative.
Night, Fairhaven.
There it is.